Let's go. Hi, hello everyone. Hope you are doing well. And we're here today again for another episode of Search and Grow podcast with a guest, a very lovely guest. This time with Montse Cano. Before we start, I hope everyone connecting and joining or listening this podcast is doing well to start with, and I like to thank our main sponsor, SE Ranking. Is an SEO tool, all-in-one SEO tool to perform different tasks like keyword research, competitor analysis, audits. We will talk about audits, but maybe not the in-depth audits. But then you can get some information around the main technical issues and many other things that you can do, and you can try have a free trial. Description in the links below. I will add in the description. And no, let's get started and welcome Montse, and thanks for being here today. And it's very lovely to have you. How are you today?
Oh, thank you very much for having me on, Toni. I'm very, very happy to be here. I'm well. Sun shining outside. Finally, it's not much wind. Not very windy, so I'm fine.
Glad to hear that. It's even sunny in Manchester, so which is not very usual. So
Great day.
Great day for everyone. So let's have a good time. And I always just like to start asking a bit more about your story and how did you started with the SEO. So tell us a bit more about Montse Cano experience.
Well, I started almost by mistake. It's really by chance. So I had always been interested in websites, how they worked, all the technology around that, and other products, what we call now products, technology products. But I am not an engineer, so I never did think I was going to be handling technology products or being into technology this much. So I moved to the UK in 2001. And very soon I started to work in the UK Department for Work and Pensions. And they realized that I was a very organized person. I quite liked managing projects, etc., etc. So when they offered me a few months later a full-time position there, they also trusted me with a website revamp. And I thought, wow, a website revamp? Me? Seriously? I was going to be handling that project when I was working with so many analysts, internet geeks, as they call themselves back then, right? Internet geeks. And that was absolutely amazing. It was a great learning experience because it's not just about the actual project management. It's also about all the technology, PHP, CSS, etc., and the more visual side of things as well. What content to upload, how to upload it so that it reads properly, so that it is visible, etc., etc. That was absolutely amazing, and that is exactly how I started.
That sounds like a big challenge to start with, right? How did it end up?
It didn't feel like a big challenge at all. It felt so enjoyable. It really was very enjoyable. And I was also very well supported by the internet geeks, right? People who would support me with more technical stuff like IT stuff, like coding and things like that. And that was absolutely brilliant. And I also had a chance to enhance my presentation skills as well. Particularly in a topic I wasn't an expert, I wasn't really studying. So, for example, I had done that at uni, but then I did linguistics and literature and everything. And I do know about linguistics quite a bit. So for me, presenting on that topic back then was all right, but presenting on technology stuff, 2 technology gigs, was like, wow.
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, that's like, and for those who obviously who don't know what Montse is obviously now it's got lots of experience with projects as a SEO and digital marketing consultant internationally. So if today we're going to be focusing more main topic on SEO audits, and I always say like everything starts with an audit, because when you start with a project, right, it's like what's going on, what's the situation, and you can't guess without carry out without analyzing what's going on, right?
That's right.
So what would be the the main tasks? I mean, how's that? Why is that important, an SEO audit, and why we should start with an SEO audit?
We should always start with an audit just so we actually know where we stand. Because we don't know what we don't know. And it is like that. We don't know what we don't know. So we need to find out about that, right? And so that we can make informed decisions as to how to grow, how to improve, An audit is the process, and I would like to stress the word process, to find out whether there are any areas of improvement and growth, so that any website runs efficiently and smoothly. By smoothly, I mean that there are no technical glitches, so that everything runs well. So you click on a link and it takes you where it's supposed to be taking you as a user, or so that the website doesn't 404, etc., etc. And by efficiently, I mean that the website does serve the purpose of the business it is supposed to be serving the purpose for. So I have seen many websites that are fantastic, they look fantastic, technically they're good, but then the topics, the content maybe is not the most interesting one for them. It doesn't serve any purpose. It's not aligned with the business vision at that moment in time, or is simply the content is cannibalizing, and there are sorts of other technical issues. So you have to make sure that all runs smoothly, so that there are no problems whatsoever in terms of connecting the dots, because it's all about connecting the dots, right? Connecting the dots between your business objectives and the audience you are trying to reach out to.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. I mean, in a way that when someone comes and say, "Oh, I got having this issue, and how can I make it rank or wherever?" and it's like, oh, well, there's no perfect fit for everyone. I mean,
No.
every and it depends on their resources, their objectives, as you well mentioned, and everything else. So there's many pieces to put together. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
And every single company every single business will be at a different stage at that moment in time. So everyone with some working experience would have worked at different companies. If they went back to those companies, we go back to those companies, they would be in a different stage of the process, really. And by that, I mean that maybe the businesses have grown. So maybe the needs of that website are different, etc., etc. So there are so many things to consider, so many aspects to consider. It's not just the one.
Yeah, totally. Montse, I agree with that. And I like when you mention also you have the technical sides, but then you have also the business side and the prioritizing what should be prioritized. I know that. How would you say that is that the key of an audit, like how you prioritize or how you build a roadmap, or how to is that the next step once you create an audit? Then what's the next step? What would you recommend is the next step when you have a list of things that you can work on?
Well, I would approach. It depends on the situation, really. I hate to say this, but it is really true. Every single situation is very different. But generally speaking, I would approach auditing a website from a project management viewpoint, right? So I would think about what I am going to try and create. Why I'm doing it, who's going to be doing that, and then trying to find out who might be implementing all the aspects or the elements that I might actually create. I might actually prioritize later on. And this is so I know exactly what I am doing, because just auditing for the sake of auditing is like creating a video and throwing a video onto a website for the sake of doing that, simply because everybody else is doing it, or because I think it's cool, or because I've got the resources. So we have to have a criteria and an objective for us to do that. So once we have that and we do the audit, we it's more like a list, right? It's more than a list. So it's not like we've got a few things to do, which at the end we will find out what to do, what to fix, what to improve. But it's more than that. It's a lot more than that. So all those aspects we need to consider then one by one. And then we prioritize then according to the business needs at that moment in time and according to what we are trying to do. So, for example, if we are doing a website migration, or a replatforming, for example, which is one type of website migration, there will be certain bits and pieces that you really want to do if you are not handling that project, if you are not involved in a website migration, because you want to fix them, perhaps things to do with CSS or JS or whatever, anything. But if you are doing a replatforming, perhaps you may not want to fix those aspects, because when you change platforms, those aspects might not be an issue anymore. So you have to think about what you want to do very, very carefully. But yeah, definitely prioritization is very, very important. And sometimes you have to be absolutely brutal with that prioritization because of time, because of restrictions, because of resources, etc., etc. We can't do everything all at once. So we have to start with something and then continue with something else.
Yeah, that's like absolutely crucial, right? Because every project, every company, every business have different resources, so they don't know exactly how much they can afford. And then when you mention different stages, it's not the same. So my next question would be, how often do we need to do an audit? We do need to run an audit approximately. Is there a time you recommend, or?
Yes, I generally recommend at least once or twice a year, particularly if it is a big website, because big websites are a lot more difficult to manage, more complicated, more complex beasts than smaller websites. So once or twice a year would be the recommended bit. But obviously, it will depend as well on the resources and the type of website, and also on your own processes. I always recommend to build in a website audit within your own processes so that you can better monitor your website, but also there will be people who prefer, any other SEOs who prefer monitor it continuously from another point of view, like more in-depth monitoring. So maybe then a very big audit might not be necessary twice a year. It really does depend on those processes. And I know SEOs who just don't do audits. They are in-house and they monitor the website very frequently and very in depth. So they are very much acquainted with any technical glitches or performance changes or perception changes, customer behavior changes, etc., etc. However, it's also very important to take into account that there are certain situations that require an audit. One of them is website migration. In In fact, for a website migration, I would do it probably 3 times. One at the very beginning to inform the actual project so that I know
Yeah.
exactly what I need to fix or I need to enhance and boost in the new website. Another one, maybe a month or so after the new website has been up and running, so that
Mhm.
I know whether there are any performance issues or any other issues that I might need to look into, or anything that I need to boost, anything I need to enhance as well. And then a few months later, because a website migration doesn't really stop once you actually migrate to a new website, it can even last for maybe a year afterwards, depending on the complexity of the website and how the whole project has been going on.
Yeah,
So
you have touched a big topic here with the migrations,
oh
which
yeah,
obviously is
a big one.
a big one. It's like you say before. Sometimes people don't understand. Oh, you have to go through, because we have come across this, and you probably come across many times. Oh no, I'm gonna do this already migrated. I already done this, and without even running any audit or preparation or pre-migration, building redirects, whatever, not doing anything, and then, oh, what's going on? I lost all this traffic. So big. This one of the obviously big important aspects of audits, or analyzing and keeping track of everything, is obviously when you are gonna have to go through a migration, a big project as a migration. You need to go through all of this, because otherwise, what could happen? Yeah, it's lots of you could lose traffic, you could lose
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Then, well, this is only one of the situations that require a website audit. Another ones, for example, when you are going to be moving internationally, when you are going to have an international expansion, that is very, very important. When the website is going too slowly, or there are issues that have been reported, for example, or maybe just simply when you need to check on competitors. But if you do check on competitors, you need to know about what your staff, what you have, what your own staff, what you where your stance. You need to check your technical aspects, your content aspects, your performance aspects, because if you're going to benchmark against your competitors, you need to know exactly who you are. That is really, really key.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And then I think people should try to avoid like copying just competitors. It's good to analyze, but not trying to copy their strategies, because you will always be behind your competitors. You need to have your own strategies on things, right?
And because there might be something already that is very much working for you and is providing you with benefits and ROI and everything. So why copying for the sake of copying? I mean, I always call this shiny objects. A bit like an artificial intelligence sometimes. Shiny objects, something that gets into fashion. People talk about it quite a lot, like I don't know, video, etc., etc. And then you realize that you have to do it because you are not doing it. But then maybe you don't need to do it. Maybe you don't, because everything is going great. You just need to look into all the things that you need to improve, anything that you can do to grow further, but not necessarily copying just because somebody is doing it. I mean, I've
Yeah,
had website, I have
definitely.
performed website migrations because, well, I was it was not my decision, but the owners of the business wanted to do a replatforming, because some friends of theirs who also ran a similar business had decided to do that, so they wanted to copy them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been what I would have recommended at that moment in time,
Yeah.
because of the very specific situation and very specific
Mhm.
circumstances. But well, I did, and it was a successful one, but all sorts of things can happen. You can't really copy others simply because you think that it is working for them.
Yeah, definitely. And going back to the resources as well, you cannot copy. If I imagine you're a small company trying to copy the
Yeah,
big ones, I mean, it's more likely you're not gonna catch up on them and then get the same. They have the same resources to invest
absolutely.
in content, in links, wherever it is. Very good. I'm loving it so far. I mean, I love when you say like this. Not obviously an audit is not a checklist or a list of things to do. It's much more than that, because what happens is most people think that, not most people receive people emails or people reaching out, oh, this is the list of things that you need to fix. If you fix this, you are gonna rank. Not entirely true. I mean, you might not
No,
rank if you fix those things. So it's much more than that. An SEO audit is much more than that. And I like explaining, all the different areas you need to focus on prioritizing things to conclude with the topic. So what tools do you use? I mean, in general, for SEO audit, or tools in digital marketing SEO that you usually recommend using people, and then you can live with it without.
well, I couldn't live without Sidebulb,
Mm-hmm.
SEMrush, Ahrefs as well, and Excel or the GSC. No, those are the tools that I tend to use. I tend to use some others as well, depending on the clients that I have worked with or the companies I have worked at, because all of them have their different the different stacks. So I have become very much acquainted with a wide variety of tools, which is really, really interesting, because a lot of people many people tend to think that it's not, I mean, you have to be an expert on Sidebulb or Salesforce or anything just to work with Salesforce or Sidebulb. And it's like, no, I mean, you just go and learn about it. And that is something that I consider very much part of my roles. As a consultant or as an employee, it doesn't matter. You learn, because you learn about those tools simply because everything evolves, and you can't really become an expert in one and forget about all of the others. And people who are not working in technology don't really seem to understand that, and it's rather important. We all need to be curious. We need to test. So, for example, the last one I tested is Analytics Edge, which is an add-on for Excel, which I love, which I absolutely love. It has saved me so long in VLOOKUPs.
Yeah, no. I like that. Obviously, we need to get familiarized, with the Excel spreadsheets and how we classify the data, analyze the data, and all of that. So it's very useful as well, and we should not be
Yes, it
afraid
is.
of trying and testing. And I like you say Sidebulb, but most people say also Scream Frog, but then both
Screaming
are very
Frog, yeah.
yeah, and
I also
then
use Screaming Frog. I tend to use a combo of tools. It really depends on what I'm doing at that moment in time. Yeah, because some tools are very good for some things and not as good for others. For example, I use SEMrush for competitor analysis because it's a great tool for that. But I also use Sidebulb or Screaming Frog for other bits and pieces at different
yeah,
stages.
but it's amazing the amount of functionalities and things that those tools have. Obviously, for what we do, I mean, some people, if they're not in the working as a consultants or for an agency, they might not be able to afford this, so they have other options. But those are the top ones, right? Very good advice. Very good. Moving, I mean, I didn't want to focus today on AI, but maybe a quick question on your opinion about what's going on, because at the moment, I mean, some people might think, oh, search is dead. I've been reading, is search dead? Is
Uh,
AI replacing not only content writers, SEOs? Is AI gonna do our job? Is AI? I mean, not only ChatGPT, what's going to happen with all this new revolution? What's Google going to do? What are your thoughts in a very brief way? I mean, what do you think about what's going on, and what are your thoughts on AI and how it's impacting the search world?
Well, first of all, I would say embrace the future. And the future is here. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I mean, I have been afraid. I'm still slightly afraid. I'm not really sure how everything is going to pan out, how it is going to be evolving over time. I guess we'll see it as we go along. So why restraining yourself? Why holding back? Just embrace the tools and embrace artificial intelligence and test it out. I would say it's not artificial intelligence though, it's more like machine learning. Artificial intelligence is more the umbrella concept, so to speak, right? Like an ideal, something that we are kind of working towards. At the moment, all those tools are machine learning. And I think they're a bit rough around the edges, to be honest. There have been a few examples that I have seen. So, for example, for schema generation, schema markup generation, idea generation for blog posts, for example, or and articles in general, it can be very, very useful. Image generation as well. I mean, I have created some images for some decks, and they are absolutely awesome, absolutely amazing, and I couldn't find them anywhere. But I would also say just try and test them, because tools are there to help us. This is the reason why we are building them up, because we need some help to perhaps make our processes a little bit more smoother, to save us time, for efficiencies really. And this is how we need to use them. We can't expect a tool to do our job, which is probably what some execs at certain companies have decided that the tools should be doing, and so they have sacked quite a few people within their content team, just because they are going to be using international artificial intelligence, which is probably not a very wise idea. Really is not. It's quite daft. But so embrace technology, test it, see whether it works for you, but be there to supervise it as well, just in case. I mean, if you generate schema markup or anything else, just make sure that you actually supervise it, because the tool just doesn't do it for you. It kind of throws back whatever it is that they find. And sometimes what happens is that they can't find, I mean, the tool cannot find anything. Yeah. And I'm talking about ChatGPT, etc., etc. And so what happens is that it makes things up. You have to be rather careful.
Yeah, of course. I mean, in some areas, also professions or sectors, I mean, content cannot be created purely with the ChatGPT, because it's based on, if you said content experience, you cannot be based in what artificial intelligence is going to tell you purely, because it's not going to work. I mean, but then obviously, like you say, embrace it. I mean, something that most tools and well, we should always test it and try it, but then always not going to give us the right answer, or the like you say very well, it's not going to give us always the right answer. So, and search is not dead, SEO is not dead. So
definitely not. We will just evolve over time. As I mean, it's good. I mean, it's good. I will be testing a bit more all these AI tools, just to make sure I can find something that works for me.
Definitely. And test it, but like, I like when you obviously say I need to test it, but then also make sure that you check that the content is, the schema is okay, the regular expression works, that the content is valuable content. All of that is a process that needs to be done by by professionals, not by any bots. So brilliant. From your own experience, with obviously working different projects and as a consultant and from companies, what would you say is the key to manage teams or communication effectively? Because with SEO and other departments, I know you have experience, and I'd like to give a little bit of your advice on this, on how to manage SEO team and everyone else.
I think the key to manage a team is to treat them as professionals as well. So they are just professionals like you. It's just that they are at a different level, perhaps, or perhaps not. Perhaps they are not at different levels. Perhaps they just know a lot more than you, or maybe more or less the same. But you are managing that team, not themselves. So, so on the one hand, what I have found very effective is to kind of draw boundaries. Not just saying, you're just reminding them and I am the boss. But it's more like setting up boundaries so that they know exactly what their roles are and what aspects they cannot actually do, who makes the decisions. But then from my part, on the other hand, I would make sure that I understand that I will hear anything that they want to tell me. Any opinion, or whether they are not finding it easy, or maybe they need some support, or maybe they are happy, and maybe they are all right. Those are, I think that is the key to managing any team, because we have to understand that everyone is absolutely different and will be at very different points in their careers. I have managed teams mostly that were going through a difficult situation. They were going through very difficult situations because of a variety of reasons, perhaps a restructuring, perhaps some of them had applied for even my own job and they didn't get it. And I felt they were prepared for that, or maybe they had not been supported over time in that company. Just didn't have anyone who would understand what they do, and why they are doing it, what the objective or their role or their the kind of work that they are doing should be. And that's been tough. But again, setting up boundaries and making sure that they are listened to has been absolutely key.
Yeah. Well, when you say obviously that the boundaries, but then like obviously for a big team, there will be people with different expectations, different roles, different jobs to do, and then the communication is key and the boundaries. I like that. I like the boundaries as well, and then I think also the imposter syndrome sometimes in especially marketers and consultants, and it's hard, it's tough, isn't it? And if you work in a big team like you manage, sometimes you need the support from someone else that has been there for a very long time and can give you a bit more reassurance and make you feel comfortable and with those boundaries, so you can ask safe space, to ask questions about because it's difficult, isn't it? And we could give advice to someone that is not as confident, maybe it's obviously you need to make that person to feel safe as well, to ask and questions related to the jobs as well, because we all been there, right? We all been there in situations where
been there. we have all been there.
we don't have it all figured out, so it's good to ask. Very useful advice indeed. We are approaching the end of this episode, fortunately, because the time has flown. I'm having a good time with you chatting, Montse.
So
and this is more like the last part is a bit more like a personal, professional kind of question about if you name some. It could be anything that you feel comfortable. It could be a film, book, or professional that have inspired you. in your career or in your life? It would be nice to share with people.
Um, that is a very difficult ask. As it's very difficult. I used to be a compulsive reader, like a bookworm. I used to be. I just love it. Doesn't quite matter the topic or theme and everything, but I think in terms of books, but even movies or TV series, anything to do with mysteries,
Mm-hmm.
particularly the classicals, Dashiell Hammett, etc., etc., classic noir, things that were
Mm-hmm.
happening, things that I don't know, just all that kind of books that keep my brain going while I
Mm-hmm.
relax as well. That is, I wouldn't say who done it, because those are just more for entertaining rather than anything else. But it's just this kind of mystery thrillers, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think, has been something that I have done during my whole career, because when I when I work, I am very curious as well. And when I used to read all these books, by Dashiell Hammett, etc., etc., I used to I used to be curious enough to try and understand what's going on and what might happen later and why it would happen. So, and this is what I do for a living as well, really. I mean, why it is that suddenly this ranking is spiking up? Why is this spike? I mean, it's nothing has happened, or maybe something has happened, something I have done, something I haven't done, and I need to be prepared for a drop, a drop
No, 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 it's exciting.
in
I,
terms
I, yeah, I'm obviously. I like that you said a book that is not related to any SEO, marketing, or
nothing at all.
business. Is more about mystery and how to immerse yourself in a story, and then that you can think about something that coming that is related to our job. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Brilliant. I'll have to read more myself. Something that I actually like. Read a lot of marketing and business books and SEO. That my partner always, my wife always says, "Come on, you don't read anything else." So I sometimes I buy some other books to get myself off of that.
Same here, really. Same here. I mean, I try not to read so much marketing, but the thing is that I quite like marketing and economy and all related technology, etc., etc. So I forced myself last week to go to a book launch
Hmm.
nearby. It was a very, very interesting one. It was all about history.
Hmm.
It's fiction, but it's fiction. It's how do you call this? It's historical fiction, right? Something that
Yeah.
didn't quite happen, but there are bits and pieces that did happen, and
Hmm.
then it was all located and situated in a um, in a context, in a historical context that
Hmm.
actually was
Like a
totally real, unfortunately.
semi-fictional kind of. Oh,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
And
Very
that
cool.
and I thought that was very good. I thought, wow, let me just go and check another type of book, something that something I can read and perhaps have another idea as well. Because when you actually go for a run and go for dinner with friends or watch a movie in a theater, not on Netflix, at home, you might actually get another idea as well that can help you with your work in your life. Why not? So we all need a rest sometimes, and
Yeah.
I think reading a book which is different might actually have. In fact, I have just started it.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We leave the book. If you like to recommend, we can share it later with the description when on the podcast when we release it. So that'll be brilliant. Yeah, yeah. I like to take a look. and read something that is not business or SEO or marketing related.
You would make many authors happy.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you this when I have actually been a contributor to a marketing book, SEO in 2023, and there is a book coming up which I have co-authored as well.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Great
yes,
stuff.
these
Yeah.
are all marketing, but
Or
this is
marketing,
just me telling
that's
you do
pretty good.
something else.
That's pretty good. Yeah. I'd love to do that. We get involved. But then if you obviously the SEO 2023 is already out there, I believe. But then the other one, whenever you release it, just share it, and I'm happy to share in my newsletter or podcast or whatever I can share with people.
Thank
So
you.
I'm sure they will enjoy it. So yeah, well, last very very well. Last couple of questions. One is about your profession. If you obviously if you would not, you have to choose a different profession, an SEO consultant, what could it be? What profession would it be?
Well, that is very different. So that's a difficult question. Just before I went to uni, my dream job was being a journalist.
Right.
Simply because of this reading and writing that I had to do, and also finding out about what's going on and the story behind things, how everything works. And then I realized that maybe that was not my profession. So I kind of changed my studies, the direction of my studies at uni. I did linguistics, but I still think journalism would be a very cool career.
Yeah,
despite
definitely.
all the issues that all journalists are having. Then I thought life as a photographer must be a pretty good one.
No, journalist. I mean, it's pretty like you say, like it's pretty. They haven't been having to adapt to the new situation. No, it's pretty interesting. But then these days, journalists can become a bit more like content need to see a bit more like they need to adapt to the new obviously ways to communicate, right? Rather than just writing.
Right.
Like we're doing right now, live podcast, all of this. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's right. And it's very interesting to see how everything is evolving. In fact, there are so many SEOs that used to be journalists or studied journalism. And that is actually very, very interesting. So it means that we are actually important as a business, as an industry, right? We are reaching other dimensions as well, other professions, because journalism is a very well-established profession.
Yeah.
Really. Whereas in SEO, we started yesterday. We started yesterday,
and we don't know what's going to happen with the new AI, new ways of searching. So maybe
we will still be there. I mean, John Mueller has recently said that having a well made website, which is technically sound, with good content, relevant content, etc., it's going to still be very, very relevant. So it means that we are going nowhere. It's just that SEOs as an industry have reached out other corners. And that means that we are a lot more important than we might actually think we are.
Yeah, I like that. I'll take that.
As an industry, that's what I meant. As an industry.
As an industry. No. I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah, if the context of a company is different, you need to collaborate with others, right? So, for example, when you are doing a website audit, you need to collaborate with other specialisms too. So you definitely have to, with other people in your company, at your clients' businesses, you really have to collaborate with them, take their lead sometimes here with knowledge regarding their specialism or their companies, because they perhaps know a lot more than you. But I meant it's important as an industry rather than as specialism within an industry.
And working as a team. of course, I'm working as a team with the different roles within the company. Brilliant, great stuff. So, where would you recommend people are listening or watching to learn SEO? Any sources, blogs, newsletters?
Their own website. That is the best way to learn. I can tell you for a fact. The best way to learn is just setting up a blog, a website. Take that as a little project management. Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
just manage the project and think about what your need is and what topic and how you are going to be setting it up and how you are going to promote it, how you are going to maintain, etc. etc. Just think about project managing that, and that will actually help you in different ways. That is one very good way. Another one is by perhaps going to conferences like Brighton SEO, for example. That's a good one. But there are so many others around the globe that are actually going to be streamed or have been streamed. So just check them out. Check them out. There's Moscom. There's there are a variety of conferences, maybe smaller or maybe bigger. Doesn't matter. Just go check them out, because there will be plenty of professionals who will be very happy to share their knowledge and which you can learn from. So just take notes. And then implement all those learnings and share them as well. Because something that I have found, maybe it's just me because I like writing, but what I have found is that when I write, I also collect my thoughts. So it kind of makes sense of it's making sense of everything that I know, or maybe that I don't know, but I need to find out more about, perhaps. And if you share that, that might actually help others as well. Write about anything. I mean, I have written about Brighton SEO, for example, how to prepare for it, what to do in there, because many people will not know what to do when they are at a conference, for example. I have written about career in SEO. I have written about technical stuff as well. It really is something that might actually help others. Maybe not, but just write it and share it, and maybe other people might want to comment and discuss that with you as well.
No, it's very sound advice, Montse. I mean, because most people always obviously recommend, read this newsletter, check this out. But then, if you run your own blog or your own website and you test things around and try, and you're going to learn faster and the best way. And then writing stuff constantly is going to make you curious and learning about things and reflect rather than just reading. So it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Very good advice. Thank you.
And you're welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. And obviously we got to the end of the episode, this episode, which obviously to be honest, I could be talking for like another hour, but it's been amazing. I hope everyone is obviously enjoying it as much as we are recording it, and then for the last piece that you would like to share is how tell people how they can find you, how they can connect with you, and they can check you out, so they can obviously follow you as well.
Right. At the moment, I am on LinkedIn and Twitter quite a lot, and that's where people can find me. I am in the process of building up a professional website, which I didn't really need until just now, basically, because I was looking into my clients' websites, obviously. But they will be able to find me there as well at montserrat-cano.com. Very, very soon. But then for the time being, it's just LinkedIn and Twitter mostly.
Yeah. We know, I know you're very active there. So I'll recommend everyone to connect, and we'll leave your obviously your links in the description once the podcast and the video is out, so they can connect with you. And yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so very
Thank
much
you.
for sharing your knowledge, for being here, part of the podcast. It means a lot. Means a lot to me. And yeah, and wish you the well. We'll see you hopefully very soon in one event, and
So
hopefully we can catch up over a drink, and then yeah, that would be brilliant. And yeah, thanks finally to again to our sponsor, the podcast sponsor, SE Ranking. And yeah, thanks everyone for being watching or listening. And yeah, speak soon. Bye bye. Thank you everyone. Thank you, Montse.
Speak soon. Thank you.
Thank
It's
you
been
so
a
much.
pleasure.
Thanks. Cheers. Likewise. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.